They laughed at her. They called her weak, called her names, said she didn't belong. But the moment she tied her hair back, everything went silent. Because in less than 10 seconds, she did something no one at that school would ever forget. She walked through those school gates like she'd already been there before, calm, steady, almost unbothered. Her name was Amara James, a 15-year-old transfer from Atlanta, and by Monday morning, everyone at Westwood High had already heard something about her. Nobody really knew her, though. She didn't talk much, didn't gossip, didn't laugh loud like the others. She'd walk to class with her earbuds in, sit in the back row, take her notes, then quietly disappear when the bell rang. And you know how schools are. Silence makes noise. The quieter you are, the more people start to notice you. So when she didn't join their cliques, when she didn't react to jokes or compliments, the curiosity turned into whispers. Who does she think she is? Why is she always alone? And by the end of that first week, those whispers had turned into something colder, mockery. At lunch, Amara would sit under the big oak tree behind the basketball court, sketching faces in her notebook. She wasn't hiding. That was her piece. But the boys on the court didn't see it that way. They called themselves the kings of the yard. 10 boys who thought the school was their playground. They were loud, confident, always showing off, always needing an audience. And to them, Amara's quietness looked like a challenge. One of them, Marcus, the so-called leader, pointed toward her one afternoon and said, "Yo, she thinks she's too good for us." The others laughed. They started calling out to her, joking, teasing, saying things just loud enough for everyone to hear. Amara looked up, smiled politely, didn't say a word. That's what got to them the most. Her silence, her calm, her refusal to give them the reaction they wanted. Because when bullies don't get a reaction, they push harder. And these boys, they wanted to break that calm. But what they didn't know was that Amara's father, a retired Marine, had raised her to stay calm under pressure, to breathe when the world shouted, to fight only when necessary. They thought she was weak, but she was trained for moments exactly like this. By Friday, the whispers had turned into a full-blown dare. Those boys weren't satisfied with mocking Amara anymore. Now, they wanted to test her. During lunch, the whole schoolyard was buzzing. The basketball court was packed, kids climbing on benches just to see what was about to happen. Someone shouted, "Yo, Marcus is about to challenge the new girl." Amara was sitting under her oak tree. As usual, sketchbook open, pencil moving in slow strokes, when the ball rolled and stopped right by her feet. She looked up. 10 boys were standing there, grinning. Marcus stepped forward and said, "All right, princess, let's see what you got. Dodgeball. Us versus you." The crowd laughed. A few kids yelled, "She's gonna run." But Amara didn't. She closed her notebook, set it down gently beside her bag, and stood up. You could tell by the way she tied her hair back that she wasn't nervous. She wasn't even angry. She was focused. "Okay," she said softly. "Let's play." The boys exchanged glances. They weren't expecting her to accept. Marcus smirked. "Oh, it's on now." They spread out, 10 of them, forming a loose circle around her. The rules? Non-existent. No teams. No coach. Just chaos. The first ball flew before she even blinked. A fast throw, straight for her head. But Amara ducked like it was nothing. Smooth, clean, effortless. The second came fast and low. She sidestepped, and it whizzed past her leg. The third, she spun out of the way, barely brushing her sleeve. Laughter started to fade. The crowd that had been cheering suddenly got quiet. Because she wasn't just lucky, she was moving with intention. Each dodge was precise, sharp, controlled. It was like she could see the throws before they even happened. Marcus threw harder. Missed again. Another boy aimed for her shoulder. Missed. Then Amara bent down, grabbed a ball from the ground, and threw it back. Quick, fast, like a strike of lightning. It hit one boy square in the chest. The sound echoed across the court. The crowd gasped. Amara's expression didn't change. She just said quietly, "Is this all you got?" And that was the moment everything shifted. You could feel the tension in the air, like the whole yard had stopped breathing. Nobody was laughing anymore. Not a single sound, except the wind brushing across the court and the thud of rubber balls hitting the ground. Amara stood in the center, calm as ever. Her eyes steady, her breathing slow. Across from her, 10 boys, red-faced, sweaty, and angry that this quiet girl was making them look foolish. Marcus spat on the ground, picked up another ball, and yelled, All right, everybody at once. The others hesitated. Then, in a storm of motion, 10 balls came flying from every direction. It looked impossible, but Amara moved like water. She dropped to the ground, rolled under one, twisted sideways as another flew past her shoulder, and with one smooth motion, she caught a ball midair. The crowd screamed. Before anyone could react, she fired it back. Boom! Right into another boy's chest. Another ball came toward her. She ducked, snatched it, and threw again. Another hit. Then another. And another. It was like watching a blur. 10 seconds of pure focus, pure instinct. Her moves weren't random. They were strategic. Every spin, every sidestep, every throw was practiced precision. When the last ball hit the ground, all 10 boys were out. Some stood frozen. Some looked down, shaking their heads. Even Marcus, the loudest one, just stood there, speechless. The silence that followed felt heavier than the game itself. You could hear her breathing, see the calm in her stance. No pride, no arrogance. Just quiet control. Then a sound broke through. Clapping. At first, just one student. Then another. And soon the entire schoolyard was on their feet, cheering. Teachers came out of classrooms, trying to understand what had happened. One of them stood by the court, mouth open, whistle still in hand. And Amara? She just smiled faintly, walked over to her sketchbook, picked it up, and brushed the dirt off. No victory dance. No gloating. Just a simple glance at Marcus. And the quiet confidence that said everything without a single word. After that day, everything at Westwood High changed. The energy, the whispers, the stares, all of it shifted. Amara wasn't the quiet new girl anymore. She was the girl who took down 10 boys in 10 seconds. You could feel it in the hallways. People stepped aside for her, not out of fear, but out of respect. Teachers smiled when she walked past. Even the janitor gave her a proud nod that morning. But there was one person who hadn't said a word since that game. Marcus, the so-called leader. He'd gone quiet too. His friends teased him at first, saying, "Man, you got schooled by a girl." But even they stopped after a while, because deep down, everyone knew he'd crossed a line. A few days later, Amara was at her locker between classes when she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around. It was Marcus, holding his backpack strap, eyes on the floor. "Hey," he said quietly. Can we talk for a second?" Amara nodded. He sighed, scratching his neck, searching for words. "Look, about the other day. I just wanted to say sorry. We were being jerks. I guess I thought you were just—" He stopped, embarrassed. Amara finished for him. "Weak." He nodded, smiling awkwardly. "Yeah, that." She didn't get angry, didn't mock him back. She just smiled and said, "It's okay. But next time, maybe mess around with someone your own speed." Marcus laughed, really laughed, for the first time in days. The tension disappeared. Something about that moment. It wasn't about winning or losing anymore. It was about understanding. Word spread about their conversation. Kids started to see Amara differently. Not just as that strong girl, but as someone who carried grace even after being humiliated. When the next gym tournament came around, Marcus walked up to her again, this time with confidence, and said, "Hey, Amara, want to be on my team?" She raised an eyebrow. "Only if you're ready to practice." He grinned. "Deal." And just like that, a rivalry turned into respect, maybe even friendship. Because sometimes, strength isn't about how hard you hit back. It's about how calm you stay once you've already won. A few months later, the schoolyard didn't look the same anymore. That old oak tree, the one Amara used to sit under, alone, had become the hangout spot. Now there were always kids sitting there, laughing, eating lunch, sketching, playing cards. And right in the middle of it all was Amara. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was a part of something. Not because she tried to fit in, but because she taught everyone what real strength looks like. When the spring tournament rolled around, Amara was named team captain. Even Marcus voted for her. And this time, when she stood on that same court, she wasn't standing alone. The same boys who once mocked her were now her teammates, cheering her on, high-fiving her after every throw. Funny how life works, isn't it? The people who once doubted you end up learning from you. After they won the championship, Marcus handed her the trophy and said, "Guess you were the right person to follow after all." Amara smiled. "You just needed someone to show you how to play fair." Everyone laughed, but deep down, they all knew this wasn't just about dodgeball. It was about respect, about how easily people judge what they don't understand. From that day on, Amara made it her mission to make sure no one else sat alone. Whenever she saw a quiet kid eating by themselves, she'd walk over, smile, and say, "Hey, you want to sit with us?" She knew what it felt like to be the outsider, the misunderstood one, and she refused to let anyone else feel that way again. Because that's what real strength is. Not just winning fights, not proving people wrong. It's lifting others when you finally stand tall yourself. And sometimes, it starts with one person, one moment, that changes everything. So the next time someone doubts you, don't argue, don't explain, don't waste your energy proving them wrong. Just show them. Because Amara did, and from that day on, every kid at Westwood High knew. Silence isn't weakness. It's power under control. If you love this story, hit that like button. And remember, silence doesn't mean weakness. It means control. Subscribe for more real, powerful stories. Because sometimes, the quietest person in the room has the loudest power.